US President Donald Trump has publicly escalated his criticism of Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, describing him as a very difficult guy and arguing that Israel should be more appreciative of Washington's diplomatic role in the Middle East. In a 28-minute phone interview with the international news agency, Donald Trump said that the US-led negotiations with Iran had produced a framework agreement aimed at ending months of regional military conflict and preventing Tehran from developing a nuclear weapon. According to Donald Trump, the emerging agreement sets out an immediate and permanent halt to military operations across multiple fronts, including Lebanon, and lays the groundwork for broader talks on Iran's nuclear program, sanctions relief, and regional security arrangements. He claimed that the deal also includes provisions affecting key maritime trade routes, including the Strait of Hormuz, which he said would be made permanently toll-free under the terms being discussed. However, Donald Trump argued that the progress of the agreement was nearly derailed by Israel military actions. He specifically referred to an Israeli airstrike on Beirut carried out in response to Hezbollah activity, saying it came just hours before the deal was due to be finalized and forced a delay in the signing process. He claimed that he directly confronted Netanyahu over the timing of the operation and expressed frustration that it disrupted delicate negotiations between Washington and Tehran. Donald Trump further said that Netanyahu's conduct during the conflict repeatedly complicated US diplomatic efforts and nearly jeopardized the final agreement. Despite this, he maintained that the United States had ultimately succeeded in preventing what he described as a catastrophic outcome for Israel, arguing that a nuclear-armed Iran would pose an existential threat. And in one of his strongest remarks, he said Israel wouldn't be around for 2 hours if Iran obtained nuclear weapons, and insisted that Netanyahu should be very thankful for US intervention. The US president also warned that the agreement was not yet final and that follow-up negotiations would be required. He said that if Iran failed to reach a final nuclear accord within the agreed timeframe, Washington could resume military action or assume a more direct security role in the Middle East, potentially tied to economic arrangements involving regional revenues. He also suggested that Iran's leadership, including its current supreme leadership, was more pragmatic than in previous phases of the conflict. Donald Trump additionally praised international leaders, including Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russia's President Vladimir Putin, for their roles in broader geopolitical stabilization efforts, while continuing to criticize Netanyahu's actions during their negotiations. Well, despite the announcement of a framework, understanding major uncertainties remain. Israel was not part of the negotiations and has not formally responded to the reported agreement. Key elements, particularly the scope of Iran's nuclear restrictions, sanctions relief, and enforcement mechanisms, are still under discussion. The deal is expected to be formally signed in Switzerland on June 19, though questions persist about its durability and regional acceptance, especially given ongoing tensions and the absence of Israel participation in the talks. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Savera for more updates. Do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.